Welcome, folks. This is our lecture for Design 300. It's Tuesday, November 30th. It's 10 o'clock. We are on Google Meet. And we're into the end of the semester. This is week 15. Let's go ahead and see what it looks like on your calendar. This is our week 15. We're into our review. This is today. So we've got week 15, week 16, where we've got our two last lectures, and then we have finals. And your review actually takes up all of that time. So you're going to have 1 week with a progress submittal due on the 15th, another week with your progress submittal due on Thursday the 16th. That's the last day of instruction. So this is where it goes off a little bit. It's the 16th that your progress check number 2 is due. And then you've got finals week where there are no classes, and you can turn in your final review packet anytime during that week, up to the last day, which is Thursday the 16th. So that's the last day to turn anything in. So you'll get 10 points for your progress check on the 15th, 10 points for your progress check on the 16th, and 10 points for your final submittal of your review. Now, the review is pretty substantial. It will take you some time. You are expected to be able to spend about 6 to 8 hours per week. So that would be 6 hours for this week, 6 hours for this week. And final exams generally take 2 hours plus a little bit of prep. So I'm figuring 3 hours. So that's about 15 hours worth of work. And the assignment reflects that. That's about what it's going to take to really put together a good review. So please plan on that time and be looking for these things. Let's see what this looks like. I'm going to go back to the main calendar because it's a little bit bigger, shows a little bit better. So this is a review presentation, and you can use any presentation software that you like. I've seen lots of good ones. Prezi, Mindmeister, Google Slides. I've seen Sumo Tori. There's a lot of really good presentation software available to you, and you get to pick whichever one you want. However, it does have to be something that I can access without creating a new login. Excuse me. And you do have to be able to export it to a PDF. Okay, so those are the two requirements. I have to be able to access it without any trouble. I don't want to have to log in or do this or do that with a special account. And I do want you to submit a PDF of it as well as your link into Canvas for each progress review and complete one. Mindmeister.com works very well, and that one you will have to make a free account for, but once you do, I can give you access to our professional version that has a lot of cool stuff on it. And so I'll be showing and demonstrating in that. You can choose whatever you want. So we have some instructions here. Let's take a look and see what the instructions say. Okay, and I've made a video to help you follow, so I'm sure you watched the video or will watch the video. So it's create a complete review presentation of the materials that you've studied in this course. Now, that's most of the studies. Okay, the work on energy analysis, sustainability, and preventing damage are optional for this review, right? The main ones are site work, foundation, building envelope, walls, windows, and doors, and the roofing, right? The work should be clear and easy to read. It should be well annotated. Um, and so let's take a look at how the grade will work. There's a slightly different rubric. So I will look at the breadth of your review. Is all of the subject matter addressed? And I'll look at the depth for each of the items in the subject matter list. Are all significant details addressed? So you need both. You need to go in deep and you need to show the whole breadth. Each of those are worth up to 2.5 points. Is the application applied properly? So that's really, I'll be looking at your calculations and your drawings and just your annotations and your summaries to see if you are applying that information appropriately to construction and the construction process, and focusing on materials. And then, of course, I'm going to be looking for your visual presentation to be clear, concise, focused, and in accord with some sort of industry standards. So that really means that if your the industry standards are really for your calculations, do they look good? Your drawings, are they presented nicely? Where you're calling out specs, are they properly titled and easy to find? Things like that. So you can get up to 1, 2, 3, 4 times 2.5. I think that's 10 points. And this is the rubric that I'll be using. Okay. And so each of your submittals will be worth 10 points. So each weekly submittal is worth the same as all your other submittals. Overall, of course, this review has 3 submittals attached to it. So it'll be worth 30 points out of the entire 160 or 170 points. So, it's not any more important or any less important than your other work, other than the fact that this presentation is really the key to showing future employers that you're well organized, that you can really look material up, you can find details that are in line with the topic at hand. And of course, this is an introductory course, so it's not super detailed, but it's a great portfolio. This review package is an excellent way to show employers, and in the future, as you get deeper into architectural design, civil design, even mechanical design, this becomes a resource for you to be able to find information that we will probably reference in other courses and expect you to be able to find on your own. So, so there we go. And so here's the little video. I'm not going to play it for you.
Well, you have certainly covered a lot of material on the date.
And it shows one way to go through this. Okay, so that's what's available to you. There's the final review instructions. I don't really have a playlist because there's just going to be the 2 recordings. These instructions, this reading list. You can get a hold of me on my appointment calendar. It's getting a little bit booked. At the end of the semester, I have a lot of assignments and administrative stuff, so some of it gets taken up. I don't have a sample for you because these are your samples. what you've done here is a great resource for you, and you should just be pulling from the work that you've already done. So here's one though that I can show you, and I think you might even have a link to that. I could probably give you a link to this. Let me share this for you as a view only. There we go. So this should allow you to go and look at mine. So I'll go ahead and put one in there. So there's a partial sample that will allow you to get to it and to take a look at it. I'm pretty sure I gave you that link earlier in the course, but it never hurts to get it again in an easy way. So let's take a look at it. I'm going to use this as Mindmeister just to show you. And it's a very simple tool to use. I'll demonstrate its use on Thursday probably. But again, anything that can kind of show things in an organized fashion and is visually easy to follow is good. Now you'll see that these have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's also a cool slideshow that it will make for itself and that you can work with. But the way to get started is to do this first. Okay, get yourself started and organize yourself first. Then it becomes easy to go find the information and drop it in and figure out how much work you've got to do. So I see that there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items, 5 areas where I'm going to have to present stuff. I've got 15 hours, and so that gives me 15 hours divided by 5 different things. I think that gives me about 3 hours to work on each of these. Now, that seems like a long time until you look and see what's involved. So I'm going to move this over to the side, and I'm going to open this one up. So the site work. Now, also, when I see it at the overall level, I might want to be able to look at some stuff and just get that overall information. So this says that site work is all preparation, demolition, and construction on a job that is not part of the building itself. And then I have a link to something. Oh, look at that. I have a link to, this would go to your first site work, material of construction. Well, this one went to a different one. This one went to my week 3, but you could put a link in there or 2 if you felt like it. And so once you've got the site done, you have to start looking at it and lay it out. What is important about the site? So I went to each of the submittals and I looked and I saw that there's a slide for water, gas, electricity, and then there were some drawings. So water, gas, and electricity were the main topics of week number 2. And then I think on week number 3 for site work, I had grading, geotechnical, BMP, and then there were more calculations and stuff. Okay, and more schematics to do. So as I put this together, I would put for each of those main slides with topics, water, gas, electricity, grading, geotechnical, BMP, and then I am suggesting that just to show that you have a good grasp of this, you can put in some notes of what would be of interest for further study. Okay? And then for each of these, so that's going to be 3 hours, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 hours with 6, that's like 30 minutes apiece. So I'll have 30 minutes to work on water, and 30 minutes to work on gas, and 30 minutes to work on electricity, and 30 minutes to work on grade, and probably really 20 or 25 minutes. So that's not too bad. Now, what will I have to do as an example for water? Well, again, this should be visual. So for site work, I should get some good visualization image to show, and the same for water. But then I would want to link directly to my information that had water. Okay, this is how you can get quickly and easily to your information. Create a link that goes right to your water information. And so that's not too hard to do. I got that done. But let's look and see what else I should do for each one of these. There's a structure that you can do that would be part of a good review. There would be a general summary. What does water mean when you're talking about site work? What keywords would you look up if you needed to find out about design resources? And was there a YouTube playlist, a link? Were there specs, standards, and resources that you can get to? Well, yes, there were. Those were right here. Right there. And yours should have those links available to you. So it's pretty quick. Were there calculations with respect to water? Maybe, maybe not. You could click on that and delete it if there weren't any. Okay, and were there drawings that had to do with water? Okay, and in this case, there were a few drawings that had to do with water. Now, it could be that some of this shows up again. These drawings had to do with gas and electricity also. So these drawings might show up again when you do your gas and electricity. Okay, so now I said I have 20 or 30 minutes to do this, and that should be 20 minutes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 4 or 5 minutes for each one of these. So by putting this all together ahead of time, you should have easy access to these, and then it's just going back to this information and pulling it in a way that makes a lot of sense. So it seems like, there's quite a bit of work here. That's why that 15 hours will really get taken up. We have covered a lot of material. And so for 3 hours for site work, since there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's half an hour each with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things to do. That's 5 or 6 minutes, 4, 5, or 6 minutes for each one of these. Then that's a fair amount of work. And of course, you might be a little faster or you might be a little slower. Let's see what Mindmeister will look like when you create a presentation. So this is what happens in Mindmeister. Kind of cool. Now look at this. It really does look good in a presentation. Isn't that cool? It'll just go off to stuff and see it. And that's kind of cool. And then it starts going on to each of these. Now over here, you might be looking at these. Isn't that nice how that presentation works? Pops up and gets really big. That's one of the things I like about this. Here's again, it's a link to this page that gives me those. So since all I have to do is put in a link, that shouldn't take me too long because you should have that well filled out already. Okay. And then here's my pictures. And then as I go on, you get to redo this as you make it. Now over here is your presentation panel that lets me move things around. I can auto create it. I can add things in. I can make boxes bigger and smaller to show what I want to show. So Mindmeister is a pretty nice tool. It will also let me export this as a PDF, so I can print it in a number of different ways. I can print each of those slides out if I feel like it. So I can make a PDF of it. Okay. And so that hopefully will give you a little bit of a clue on how to set it up. So that's site work, one of the 5 items. I would say that by the end of progress check 1, I should be able to see all of these set up with sort of this level on each one. That would be a good goal. Okay, because that will just be some work, get things put together, give you, almost an hour to do each one of those. So in 6 hours, that would give you like an hour to do this one, an hour to do this one, hour. But it's really pulling it all together and getting your images in. So that's a little bit of work. But that would be a good place to go for progress check number 1. At a minimum, I should see the main things set up and all of these in here. Now, alternately, if you wanted to, you might do a complete job for site work and say foundation. Maybe you would do that instead. Do the whole complete job. Water, gas, electricity grading, geotech, BMP, all of site work, all the way completed out with a summary, keywords, links for all of these, and maybe for foundation. So for your scope breadth, I would see all of these laid out, and for depth, I would see either, right, this level laid out for each one, or this complete thing for maybe 1 and 2 of them. So that's how I would do the depth. Breadth, do you have all of the items itemized, and do you know which slides are required for each one of these? Okay. And then I'd be looking, do you have nice images for this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one? Maybe even a nice image for your material of construction design resources. Okay, so there we go. That is the goal of where you want to go. On Thursday, I'll talk about how you operate mindmeister.com if that's what you so choose to use. And I will be able to, if you email me and say you'd like to. Now, you can make a free account, by the way. It's free. They don't ask for anything but a login email address, and you will be able to make one of these full and complete. But if you do it the on the ARC version of it, where I can put you into this, it gives you more sharing capabilities and things like that. Okay, and you do need to use your W number at apps.losrios.edu if you're going to get into ours. So there we go. That's what we've got for you for the start of this week. It's a total review of the site, foundations, flooring, building envelope, and roofing. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how you guys put this together, because your work so far has been really, really nice, visually pleasing, well formatted. Everybody's done fine on their breadth and depth so far in their presentation. So I'm just looking for more good work. All right. Thank you.